Beloved, I'm glad you're here. I don't believe it's coincidence that your path crossed this message today. Something soft but steady nudged you in this direction. Maybe curiosity brought you. Maybe exhaustion brought you. Maybe a quiet hope inside whispered, "Listen for a moment." However you arrived, this moment is meant to meet you, not judge you. For a long time, you've lived as if the next problem is always waiting around the corner. Your shoulders tighten without thinking. Your mind prepares for disappointment before relief ever reaches you. Even good news feels temporary because you've learned to expect it to disappear. That is what happens when life teaches you survival instead of peace. But hear this with a calm heart, you are not standing in the place you once were. What tried to control your story does not hold the final word anymore. The struggle that shaped your reactions does not define your future. Something has shifted, even if it feels unfamiliar. You are being invited into a different way of being, not frantic, not fearful, not constantly bracing, but steady, rooted, and safe. There were seasons when you kept everything together on the outside while quietly falling apart on the inside. You smiled while your chest tightened. You showed up for others while secretly wondering who would notice if you disappeared. You carried responsibilities bigger than your strength because you didn't see another option. Only you and God know the weight that lived inside your chest. Yet you didn't collapse. You didn't vanish. You may have bent, but you did not break. That wasn't luck. That wasn't coincidence. You were sustained. There was a quiet grace surrounding you that would not let you sink even when you felt too tired to swim. Looking back, there are moments you still can't explain, moments where you should have lost everything but didn't, moments where one small decision kept you standing. Those were fingerprints of protection. Something greater than fear kept guiding you forward one day at a time. Now the season is different, though your body hasn't fully realized it yet. You may notice strange peace arriving in places that used to feel chaotic. The same doubts don't grip you as tightly. The inner battles you used to fight daily now appear as distant echoes. Peace doesn't always arrive loud or dramatic. Sometimes it arrives quietly, like a gentle breath after years of holding everything in. That calmness is not weakness, it's evidence that a long, draining war has lost its authority. When you've lived under stress long enough, learning to relax can actually feel dangerous at first. Your mind may ask, is it okay to feel this safe? Is this real? That's normal. Healing takes time to catch up with truth. But the truth remains. You are not fighting the same enemy anymore, and you are not walking alone. There will still be challenges in life, because growth never happens without movement. But the battle that once tried to erase your sense of worth, that pattern that repeated through situations, relationships, and even generations, is being brought to a close. You did not outrun it by accident. You grew beyond it. You recognized lies that once sounded like truth. You chose endurance when quitting felt like the easier path. Heaven saw that. God saw the quiet nights when you whispered prayers half afraid no one was listening. God saw the mornings when you rose even though part of you wanted to stay under the covers forever. Your strength wasn't loud, but it was real. And now, recognition is catching up with you. Not just recognition from others, but recognition from within. The part of you that thought you were weak is learning the truth. You survived what many would not have. That means the way you see yourself must change too. You don't need to stay tense as if disaster is always waiting. You don't have to keep wearing emotional armor that has already served its purpose. Armor is useful in battle, but heavy during peace. There comes a time when laying it down is not irresponsibility, it's obedience. You are allowed to breathe more deeply than before. You are allowed to laugh without constantly looking over your shoulder. You are allowed to imagine a future not driven by fear. If peace feels unfamiliar, that does not make it untrustworthy. It simply means your heart is learning a new language, one that sounds like safety, softness, and trust. When prayer shifts from panic into conversation, when you talk to God not only about survival but about dreams, healing begins. When you start believing you are loved not because of performance but because of identity, something inside relaxes. When you realize you don't have to chase everything, because what's meant for you will meet you, your spirit finds space to rest. Rest is not laziness. Rest is confidence. Rest says, I am not holding the world together by myself. Rest allows you to stop proving your worth and start living from it. The foundation beneath you has always been stronger than the pressure above you. God never intended for your life to be an endless test of endurance. He intended your life to include rhythm. Moments of doing and moments of being, seasons of sowing and seasons of gathering, times of stretching and times of restoring. Think of someone who has walked a long road with heavy bags over their shoulders. When they finally reach shelter, nobody expects them to keep carrying everything. Setting the bags down is not a luxury, it is necessary to continue. The weight you once carried served a purpose for a season. It protected you. It taught you resilience. But it is not meant to be your permanent identity. You are more than the storms you walked through. You are more than your coping mechanisms. You are more than the survival patterns you learned along the way. Growth now looks like gentleness. Wisdom now looks like patience. Strength now looks like knowing when to pause instead of pushing yourself past breaking. God is not asking you to stay exhausted to prove your devotion. God is showing you that His presence brings relief, not constant strain. There will be moments where your mind tries to drag you back into old habits, checking for danger, predicting failure, expecting abandonment. When that happens, pause and notice what is really happening. You are not being warned, you are being reminded of old programming. And old programming can be updated. Little by little, you will learn to say, I'm safe now. Over time, your heart will believe it. Your nervous system will calm. You will begin to trust that joy can remain without turning into disaster. You will notice that not everything in your life requires your control. Some blessings do not need chasing, they simply require openness. Some doors open not because you fight harder, but because you finally stop forcing what was never meant to be. This new chapter is not about pretending pain never happened. It's about acknowledging that pain did not have the final say. What you endured shaped you into someone compassionate, perceptive, and deeply aware. You understand others' struggles because you have walked through your own. That empathy is not trauma, it is wisdom. It will guide you in how you treat people. It will help you notice those who smile while hiding their storms. It will allow you to reassure others that they too are not alone. That is part of your purpose. Not to impress, not to perform, but to live as someone who knows peace is possible even after chaos. Rest teaches you balance. It reminds you that you are a person, not a machine. It shows you that real success is not just about what you build, but about the condition of your heart while building. Some seasons require discipline and perseverance. Others require releasing and trusting. Right now, you are learning to receive. You are learning to believe that good things do not always arrive coated in struggle. Sometimes they arrive gently, like an open window letting in cool air after a hot day. You don't need to distrust the breeze. You can enjoy it. You can sit quietly and allow yourself to heal at a pace that honors your story. If quiet makes you uncomfortable, don't rush away from it. Quiet is where clarity grows. In silence, you hear not the noise of fear but the whisper of reassurance. In stillness, you realize that not everything needs your immediate reaction. Some situations resolve themselves when you stop feeding them attention. Some relationships become healthier when you stop chasing approval. Some inner questions answer themselves when you give them time instead of panic. Peace is not the absence of movement, it is the presence of trust inside movement. You will still make decisions, still work, still show up. But you will do it without the old tremble under your skin, without the constant voice saying, "If I stop for 1 second, everything will fall apart." That voice is fading. And that is a blessing, not a loss. Be patient while your heart adjusts to this new reality. Recovery from years of tension happens slowly and compassionately, not through force. Celebrate the small signs, the deeper breath, the moment of laughter, the day when worry arrives but doesn't stay. Those small shifts are proof that healing is active, not distant. God works through gradual transformation as often as through sudden change. He is not rushing you, so you don't need to rush yourself. You are allowed to learn peace step by step. You are allowed to practice rest the same way you once practiced endurance. Every day you choose trust over panic, your spirit grows stronger. Rest also prepares you for purpose. Clear minds make wiser choices. Calm hearts love more honestly. Balanced lives carry blessings without being crushed by them. The future God is shaping for you does not require burnout, it requires partnership. Partnership means you do what you can, and you allow God to handle what you cannot. It means you plant seeds faithfully, but you do not force them to grow before their time. You no longer have to push doors open with sheer exhaustion. The right doors will respond to timing, alignment, and peace. When opportunities come that don't cost your soul, you will recognize them. When relationships come that don't drain your spirit, you will feel the difference. So tonight, when you rest, do it without guilt. When you breathe deeply, do it without fear. When you smile for no dramatic reason, allow it. You are not falling behind. You are learning how to live without constant internal conflict. And that is not weakness, it is maturity. It is spiritual growth. It is God gently saying, "You are safe with me." Let yourself experience what it feels like to be held instead of constantly bracing. Let your heart believe that peace doesn't mean something is about to go wrong, it means something has finally gone right. If this message helped soften something inside you, take a moment and write "Amen" in the comments, not as superstition, but as agreement with the healing process happening in you. And if you know someone who has lived too long in survival mode, someone who needs to be reminded that rest is not failure, consider sharing this with them. It may be the quiet reassurance their heart has been waiting for. If you'd like to keep growing together with messages like this, honest, gentle, and faith-rooted, you're welcome to stay connected. And as you step away from this moment, hold this simple truth close: you are not lost at sea anymore. You are anchored. You are noticed. You are safe to rest. And peace is not leaving you, it is becoming your new home.